Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, guys, ladies. Welcome to Born and Red. I don't even know what we called the Sunday show. The squad was just the duo today, me and Asim. Ben's away. And Gene was supposed to be here, but he got his flight details all wrong. So he's coming back actually on Tuesday. But here we are. Yeah, another loss. 5 out of 6 in the Premier League. Deary me, where shall I start? Just when you thought, Villa was a good result, Madrid was a fantastic result, have Liverpool turned a corner? It was pretty much the same old of what we've seen in the last 3-4 weeks. Grim viewing, some dreadful performances. We'll go into it, and no one's holding back today. It's no holds barred basically tonight. Some of those players were a disgrace. We'll talk about the build-up. Asim's very keen on talking about our defensive shape, something that he's been talking about since July, the Preston North End game. He's been talking about the build-up. But we'll go into it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. We are on our way to 20K. Asim, we're both wearing green. It was by accident. It wasn't on purpose. But a lot of bad performances. Where to start? Pep's 1000th game. Just when you thought, have we turned a corner? Has this Liverpool team, who beat a very impressive Real Madrid team in terms of their start to the season, have we turned a corner? It was back to grim viewing, wasn't it? Especially that first half.
It was, Avi. It was. You know what? What really killed me today, Avi? I have to be very careful. Very careful. I don't. Look, I'm always careful with my words, especially when you put your face on YouTube. But I'm really, if I wasn't out, everyone's been worried. Then we got a big lift. But I was always saying, look, caution. Sorry, because we did play well. We set our stall out with Villa. We played Madrid really, really well. We had our style. We had a plan. And it came off. We had Anfield behind us for both of the games. But I'm not going to judge Liverpool just on those 2 games, because arguably speaking, what we've been struggling with all season and by the back end of last season is not because of teams like Aston Villa and Real Madrid, but those big days. And, this City side, I'm telling you now, as well as they played, they can be got at, Avi.
100%.
The most annoying and what kills me today is I'm looking at players, and I'm so glad I was this close to going today. This close, but I couldn't. I had an arrangement that came up, but it would have been a lot worse if I was just staring at what I'm watching in Manchester. But I was just still staring at the TV screen, because I've not seen this Liverpool team, especially under Arne Slot, where I have to question the motivation, the desire, the commitment. I had to question that today, Avi, because I did not see any Liverpool player put a tackle in force with any force or with any sort of bite. And the manager said, yeah, they gave us a lesson in, he basically admitted Guardiola got him tactically, and he flooded the central areas, and they got around us and they swarmed us on and off the ball. But it's your job to sort it out. And what killed me as well is, I think it was before the game, I saw the manager saying that I've seen, and obviously he was exaggerating, but he was making the point that he's watched Manchester City a lot. But let's be honest and call a spade a spade.
Enough.
What's happened is he's watched last year's game. He's watched Manchester City's games over the last couple of weeks. But he's basically went to that game and he's tried to replicate last year's performance in a worse fashion. Because last season, we had our backs against the wall and we caught them on the break, especially for the second goal, from what I remember. And City had a lot of the ball. Doku had a lot of the ball, but, we just swept it up and we got across. Yes, there were a lot of individual mistakes. So you can't legislate for individual mistakes, Avi, 100%. But you've just come back off of a really good victory against Real Madrid. And this is a bit of a new trend going on amongst the new coaches, where there are so much quality with the big teams, the Real Madrids, the Arsenal, the Cities, and I hope to say Liverpool still in there, even though we're miles off it at the moment. But we've still got some world-class players who can really hurt you. And what the tendency is you press high, you be really aggressive, you try to win the ball up high up, and you still have those high pressing principles. But when you haven't got the ball, you totally sit off. And that's what he did against Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you persisting with this passive mid-block nonsense? I've got other words for it as well. It's complete naivety at the moment because we don't have any control. Even when we win in the league at Canter, that mid-block, it had so much structural deficiencies, especially with the Salah trade-off. But when your star man is having a brilliant season and scoring 1 million goals, that trade-off is justified. But at the moment, and Guardiola touched on it again at the end of the game, that he said, look, it was a bit difficult for Shirky to get on the ball because the way Liverpool defend is all the overloads and the space was on the left-hand side. And that's what he meant. Is because we're still persisting with this. I want Salah on the big day. If we're facing Sunderland at home, West Ham at home, West Ham away even, they won't hurt you. If they're given 3-4 counterattacks as good as the Premier League, the lower percentages or the lower probability will say they'll get 2 chances, but you'll get 8 chances with that principle. But teams like Manchester City don't give you a chance. They keep the ball. They've got better footballers, better technicians, especially higher up the field. So that trade-off doesn't work on the big day, especially if it's not Anfield and the crowd is behind you. So in terms of principles, you're wrong. In terms of the structure, you're wrong. Look, we all have to be happy with the personnel. No one, and I have to hold my hands up. We all have to be happy with the personnel. I did not see one single fan say he's got the team wrong. The performances, we had added a lot of caution to Real Madrid. I've just talked about it, Aston Villa. The teams suited us, how they play. But in terms of the personnel today, you can't get the team wrong. But when you're faced with, and you've gone in basically with your plan of last year, and then Manchester City looked at it, flipping the coin, Avi, they thought Liverpool sat off us. What we need to do is they haven't got Trent, so we can get extra 5-10 yards and push on them and squeeze up. And I'll come to the structure and the personnel problems and a bit of a dialogue I had with Sam Maguire. I've been having a bit of a dialogue with Sam Maguire over the last month. But what Guardiola thought, you know what, we're going to press him aggressively. And you saw Haaland, the ball was going to Kanate. Haaland was running towards Van Dijk. Because how do Liverpool bypass that press? It's Van Dijk. And although Bradley impressed me in midweek, where he at least tried the ball, tried the switch, even though he didn't get his colleague a few times, but Liverpool got some favourable situations out of it where we ran onto space and we turned Real Madrid around. And you have to keep their press of the team and the energy and as a team really honest. That, you know what, they have got a pass to bypass us. But you know that pass is not going to come into midfield or try to go along. It's not going to happen unless the teams, Avi, and you have to give City really a lot of credit. They were really aggressive, not just from the front. They were really aggressive in midfield, on and off the ball, and especially when the ball went long, they lost. The ball didn't stink. Whether it was Salah, whether it was Wirtz or Ekitike, the ball didn't stick, and it kept coming back and coming back and coming back. And how did they hurt us? Is they even put Doku inside. So they were asking the question, Liverpool, are you going to mark space? Because if you're going to mark space, we've got plenty of midfielders and plenty of technicians and plenty of footballers in midfield to pass it around you. We even saw once in the first half where they passed it from our corner flag right at the front end of the pitch, and they passed us around us right from in that position, and I don't know what happened, but the ball came out, and Gary Neville was waxing lyrical about it. But it showed you that doesn't matter how many bodies we had in the middle, they always had more. And we were asking our right back the question: are you going to follow Doku? But his job is not to follow Doku if his manager is telling him to occupy space and stay there. But you had to, because Guardiola outsmarted and outworked Arne Slot today. 100%. Because we were confused. And honestly, at times I didn't know what positions they were doing, but they confused us with their fluidity and natural interchanges of positions. At times, Bernardo Silva was dropping in midfield. Obviously, they were really consistent in keeping Doku inside and O'Reilly really high. But Liverpool, ultimately, the crux of the problem is when you go to big teams and big stadiums, Avi, you have to keep the ball. That's not a hostile stadium. Far from it. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
What is the phrase that you hear? First 10 minutes, boys. First 15 minutes, boys. Quiet in the crowd, even though that's not difficult in Manchester at City's ground. But in terms of giving someone the encouragement, and we give plenty of encouragement through individual mistakes, through a structure, and our passive play. Every single thing about us, Avi, was a complete shambles. From the manager to the players. The players have to look at them, a hard look at themselves, Avi. Every single one of them going home tonight. You know what? I'm not a big fan of players coming out on social media and apologizing, but I don't know how many went to the away end and apologized, because this sort of performance, it was justified. Because Liverpool, yeah, they were a bit better in the second half, but we had to take a few risks. We couldn't get any worse. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. But that first half performance, I think, from the manager, the players, I were absolutely knackered, Avi. It felt like we've just gone 12 rounds with bloody Tyson Fury and come onto that pitch. We were knackered and we couldn't do anything about it. Because how do you get amongst them? Because if you have your plan, you can get amongst them. But if you're getting outsmarted on and off the pitch and you've got no legs, then you're asking for a disaster. And that's what exactly it was, Avi, tonight. A complete disaster.
Even with an extra day rest, we still looked very. I can hear my. Just sort your mic out a little bit, Asim. We still looked a bit leggy today. Asim, you know, I can't put it into words. Talking of technicians, I thought Silva, Foden, and Cherki, they confused the hell out of our midfield. And look, I'm not here to slay Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and McAllister too much today, but they just looked lost. McAllister was nowhere to be seen today. And we've talked about it. You've elaborated more on it. Where McAllister, for these big game occasions, where you're just going to get overrun, you're not going to have the space, you're not going to be able to be the dictator, you're not going to be able to be the tempo setter in this team. He just can't be starting these games, Asim. It's getting more and more evident that Mac struggles away from home, especially with Wirtz off the left, who I thought had, he just couldn't get into the game. But then those technicians, and Nico Gonzalez, who was just steadying the ship, but those technicians, Silva, Foden, and Cherki, I thought they were very good. Cherki looks as if he's lost a few pounds as well. He was energetic. He was providing the running. Doku giving us problems. O'Reilly being that sort of anchor man, giving that little bit of support. Salah wasn't even, not that he had to track him too much, but he wasn't even tracking back. Riley was having space and he looked very comfortable against Salah. Ekitike couldn't get into the game today. And this is why like we've been wanting Isak to get back into full fitness, because Isak should have been the number 9 leading the line, because Ekitike is still a tad short. In these big games, you want to go with your first team, but no excuses. City were up for it. And that first goal, Asim, it was just a shit show all over. Mateus Nunes gets the freedom of that right-hand side to put in the cross at his will. And Robbo and Van Dijk, Virgil should have kept that line. I think he was left back at that stage, and Robbo had come in. They should have stuck to it, but the ball comes back. Van Dijk and Robbo switch. That cross goes in, and Konate aids Haaland. Haaland didn't know anything about it, but Konate aerially, I'll say again, he's awful in the air. And yes, City gave him the freedom of the pitch today as well. They said, look, Haaland's on Van Dijk. We'll give you the ball all day long, because we know you're not confident enough to play a probing pass. We know you're not good on the ball. I don't want to say shit, but the lack of quality on that right-hand is damning. And City, Asim, they exploited it all day long. Doku gets the best out of every fullback, most games. It's usually his end product, which we say is totally shite. But this season, he's bringing it all together. But I said, what can we do? These are a problem that you've been saying since July. We can't change the personnel because it's obvious that Slot doesn't have full faith in Gomez to come at centre back because he is a better ball playing defender, but he hasn't got the faith in him in case he gets injured. And with Frimpong being injured, he's going to stick with Bradley. I didn't think Bradley had a bad game.
He
But
stuck to his task.
but he was never. Doku's always going to give you problems, no matter what you say. Last season, Doku had ample amounts of space at the Etihad. It was just his final product. Asim, where do we go from here? We can talk about the result. We can talk about the goals in length, but we've seen them. We know what the issues are. Where does he fix this issue away from home?
Look, there are problems. It's not all personnel. There are problems. But it's clear the manager doesn't have a solution at the moment, Avi. If there was a quick fix, don't you think we would have found it back end of last season? Because this is not me, you, and talking. This is the manager's been talking this season and at the back end of season, but it didn't get really the attention. Why? Because we were winning the league anyway, and then we were on the beach for the last month. So you couldn't really pay attention to it because you tried to, it was papering over the cracks. Like, you know what? Teams are starting to look at us differently. Why? I've been talking about it for months on end. Is because when you sat off Liverpool, a really good structured Liverpool, Kanate, Van Dijk, Trent, and the left back playing really well, especially our midfield, Salah having an all-timer, Diaz and Gakpo in competition. So everything was working. But more importantly, teams were sat off us in the first half of the season. And Liverpool just had too much quality to play around the space. It doesn't matter how compact you are, Liverpool found an answer because ultimately they just had too much creativity from deep to going forward. So how do you counter that now? The teams have thought, you know what, let's just get really aggressive. And even with Trent, at least force Liverpool to go long. We'll win the second, the duels, even though the likes of Salah are really good at holding the ball. Even last year, Diaz didn't get enough credit of how much he recycled the ball just to, he wasn't the Sadio Mane where he can pluck it out of thin air, but he did a really, really good job. He did a better job than Cody Gakpo, because Cody Gakpo is a guy I generally think that frame of his natural frame, he doesn't utilize it enough. But that was the problem. Liverpool are going long now. Let's get the second ball. And ultimately, Liverpool have found it really, really difficult to find an answer. And this is the reason why there's a lot of frustration amongst the manager as well, where people are targeting with, set pieces, and the league has seen a massive, massive increase in set pieces and physicality. And every single manager up and down the country is talking about duels. But that's what the modern game has become about, is man-to-man press and then duels. If you can't win your duels, it doesn't matter what you're playing, you lose a lot of football matches. And Liverpool are losing a lot of football matches because they cannot gain control against teams. And this is why I've accepted now, Avi, that Liverpool will come out with performances like Villa and Real Madrid, especially in the Champions League, under the lights.
Or at home.
Or at home. But let's make no mistake about it. There'll be a lot of Manchester City type of performances as well. Is because our issues, the underlying issues, the crux of the matter is the personnel. Teams can get really aggressive against us and swarm us, and that's what happened. And when you got really good footballers, and we can't do the same now. Why can't we do the same, Avi? Is because that's what you're going to ask me. I know that's what you're probably writing it down. Why can't we do the same? One, the manager doesn't have the balls to do it. We always, even when we had Trent and we were playing really well, and even really playing badly in some halves, Ipswich at home, for example, forget everything else that happened after that. On the first day of the season, it happened where he was trying to mark space and occupy space in a compact, passive structure against Ipswich. Ipswich are really physical and really strong against us and really aggressive. And we were caused big, massive issues, especially in Kwanzaa. He got hooked off. Kanate had a really good half and we won the league. But the underlying issues persisted, although we were playing well. And I talked about how many individuals were playing at the highest of their level in terms of their own individual performances. But the crux of the matter is, Avi, we don't have a solution right now. Get to January, and we have to.
Has he got that time till January, though?
We have to somehow crawl.
Has he got the time? Because I'm looking at the results away from home. We've lost to Palace. That's where it started. The rot. We lost to Chelsea. We lost to Brentford. We lost to City. Similar results. We never deserved to get anything from any of those games.
Avi, wherever you look, and this is, I know I've talked about in length about build up, but it's also, and I was just coming to that fact that why can't Liverpool do the same? Because we haven't got the players. Ultimately, we haven't got the players. Luis Diaz was one of the best pressing machines in world football. Every single time you were he's your boy. Every time I talked about Diaz and everyone talked about his lack of GA, I said, guys, I love Luis Diaz in terms of what he gives, because you can't have Mohamed Salah all over the team. You have to have someone to provide the foundation. Excuse me. And that's the problem, Avi. We don't even have Diogo Jota, whose pressing and off the ball duties was very, very underrated. Darwin Núñez, as much as you liked him or hated him, off the ball in terms of intensity, ran like a headless chicken for a couple of years, but got better and gave us a lot of intensity in transition going the other way. These guys, and this is the reason why we can't do it. And we've been playing Sobo, obviously, in the last month or so. Wirtz has come out of the team. So you take Sobo out of the 10, you take Diaz, you take Núñez, you take Jota. Ekitike is a decent presser. He's not the greatest oppressor. So the individuals are not there to do what everyone else is doing against us. But also the manager doesn't have the balls at the moment, because what I've just talked about is he's always going to that as a last resort where things are not going well. Let's go man to man. And Liverpool do look a better team. It is high risk. I understand. And it's probably more dependent. Not probably, it is. It's a fact. When you go man to man, it's more dependent on duels as well. But then the personnel come into play as well. And that's why teams like Arsenal don't struggle, because they've got the legs in midfield and they've got the physical acumen in midfield with the likes of Declan Rice especially. We don't have those legs. And when you talk about Curtis Jones, we have to talk about him. He should be playing more games.
Yeah.
He should be playing more games. But the problem with Curtis Jones, Avi, is it's his own fault as well. He can't stay fit.
I thought today, Asim, there was a lack of effort. I get the structure, the setup, and the individuals that have got to perform, they obviously haven't. And look, we have got holes in that team, in the setup that Slot wants us to play. And you've been harping on about the build-up. But Asim, the lack of calmness, we didn't have any courage, the intensity. City brought it. The Foden, Silvers, and the Cherkis and Nico Gonzalez, Doku, they had that intensity. Haaland was up for it. You look at the fullbacks, Mateus Nunes, who's had a new leaf at right back. He's a central midfielder who's struggling to get into the City team, and Pep Guardiola has made it work with him going right back. We should have done something. Maybe put Curtis Jones at right back, something that you've been harping on about, and put an extra body in midfield, which we didn't do. Asim, I'm struggling, and I know we've got a run of games which is quite kind to us, but away from home, I don't know how we fix it. Do we fix it by putting Jones, who's a 6-footer, in the team? Isak, we've got to get him fine, but he's not a presser. He won't be pressing from the front. Salah's out of touch. We're Nottingham Forest next up at home, which will be a tough game because Dyche will set them up to be physical. He will be saying, get at their ankles, get the first few challenges in, win the first few fouls, draw them in, because they'll fancy it right now, because we are still a wounding animal.
Avi, I'm worrying for the manager. I don't see, this is not just the benefit of hindsight. I've been talking about the underlying issues for a while, and now they're materializing. I've been saying it, and Liverpool's again. I want to, you've been talking about. I've been engaging on the internet. I can mention his name, Sam Maguire. You guys all know the interaction I have with him on Twitter. Obviously, football's full of opinions, and I'm not saying I'm right all the time, but I genuinely believe it is the crux of the problem is the personnel. And after 30-40 minutes, see what happens. Whether it's a manager's instruction from the sideline, or whether the manager, the players themselves worked it out that something's wrong. We're not getting the ball. Whether it's from Kanate or Robertson or Bradley, especially Kanate. Funnel the ball to Kanate. There's the pressing trigger, and we all go as a team, and it's easy. Salah has to come into no man's land to pick up the ball up. But that is our only way. We don't have a right-sided defender or a right back who can manipulate the ball, who can connect with the double pivot or the right winger. And that's why you see Salah come so deep. And the structural deficiencies in his play where he was making McAllister from the right side to pick up the ball. McAllister is not the press resistant, but there's so many issues, little issues. Put them together is a big, massive crisis at the moment with Liverpool on and off the ball. That is the big problem. And then Liverpool need to crawl to January somehow, Avi. And Dean mentions a brilliant point. One of the other issues is Liverpool, when they do go over the top, Salah doesn't have the same legs anymore. Wirtz is inside, so you don't have the natural width. Robbo has lost his legs. We've lost Diaz, who can carry the ball 20, 30 yards up the field. Gakpo can't do it because he takes too long. And when he does receive the ball, he doesn't pick out his left back. There are so many issues. So where do you look? And people think that we're over analyzing and all that sort of stuff. But for people to think that this is not due, the crux of the matter, because we have to concentrate. We have to focus on the off the issue.
Asim, we've got to give it. Look.
Let me finish. We have to focus on the underlying issues. And Sam Maguire goes to me today, City battered us. Like, what the fuck does that mean? What does City battered us mean? You're a fucking analyst. Tell me why they battered us. Tell me the issues. And for you to tell me that Trent isn't the cause, or our back line doesn't have the technical security, but it's all down to structure, then with all due respect, you're not watching Liverpool. You shouldn't be analysing Liverpool. Honestly, with all due respect, if someone cannot see that Liverpool have a technical quality problem with the back line where we can't pass it through, or any sort of aggressive defence, we'll do it against Villa because theirs is a 4-4-2 passive structure as well, and we'll think we're the best team in the world. But I want to judge these players on the big day. Where was Kanate today? Where was Bradley today?
Well, you know my thoughts about Kanate. And Ben's a lucky he's a lucky chicken, put it that way. But like glamorizing him over Villa and yes, Real Madrid. But listen, I've always said, when you get to fucking November, right, and there's been no contract signed, I'm done with it. I am done with it. I draw the line. If you have not signed your contract by November, right, you're gone from me. You're gone from me. Then you're just flirting and you're watching yourself because it's World Cup year. You want to get that big move or engineer your way out of Liverpool. And all this, like, you know, and I know Indy came out with it. Look, I know we're mentioning a few Twitter aggregators, but big up them as well. And look, it's all about football debates. It's nothing ever ruthless or insulting. But when Indy Kaler comes out with, oh, Kanate's been offered a contract, this and that, it may be, and Lequip are coming out with, there's been contractual talks between things. If it's not been signed, then forget about it. Asim, for me, he's gone. He's gone. So what do you do then? What you do is you play Gomez now. Because these are damage. This is a damage. No, Asim, let me finish now. Let me land now. These are damage limitation season already. It's Chutti now. But Towel's gone. Yeah, you can sip on your cup of tea, but Towel's gone. There is no way we are winning the league. Mark my words, we are gone. Actually, it's even pathetic mentioning the title right now. But we are gone. So you know what you do? You play Gomez, who's a better ball-playing defender, who can probably cover Bradley a little bit than Ibu is. Because Ibu, right? You know Ibu, after that Kevin Sade scored against us. For me, he's out of his arse. He was out of his way out. Because that was a pathetic attempt to get back against Brentford. And nothing's changed. Yes, against Real Madrid, he looked better. He's flirting for a move. He was showing him, he's bent over basically for Real Madrid and said, listen, I'm going to prove to you lot why you don't need me over Upamecano. Yeah, fair enough. Not today, he was absolutely awful. Aerially, he's shocking. For the penalty, he was shocking. What's he doing? Playing a little pansy soft touch to Bradley. Get your foot underneath the ball, for fuck's sake, and clear it out. You're playing it back into play again. And then obviously, what does Mama do? Mama had no option but to dive. And yes, it was a bit of a dubious decision, but it was a penalty. Right? Asim, we are so shocking. Like, how do you go from being Real Madrid and being up for it?
But what's your solution?
Asim,
What needs to happen? You tell me.
Okay, you know my thoughts on McAllister. A big game away at Etihad. I would have loved, and we were talking about it vigorously over the last week. Wirtz on the left, Jones would have been better physicality. I think Jones would have had the better of a Silva, Cherki, and a Foden. I think we would have had better because Jones has good movement. McAllister is stagnant. He's absolutely stagnant. McAllister is, he's got like lead in his foot. He can't move the ball. He's playing these 5-yard passes, making himself pretty with a side parting. He's fucking shot to pieces. I'm telling you, away from home, Macca is not the answer. So Bosra is running for 2. So his legs were going to go. And Gravenberch, he was a sitting duck. When you've got the movement of those 3 technicians in front of you, and boy, they were confusing the hell out of us. We looked lost.
You know what's killing us, Avi, as well? We were talking about our wingers. Our fullbacks are not good enough for the ball.
And you know what, Asim? Before you land, I want to give Pep Guardiola some credit. His 1000th game, they were all up for it. He outsmarted us. But you know what? I also want to say he exposed all the holes in our team. But I want to give him credit. I want to give Pep Guardiola credit because you know what? He's found a way. And look, they're going through some transition too. Cherki is not a Pep Guardiola player. He's had to make him a Pep Guardiola player. We know Cherki from Lyon. You know, there was issues with his running and his attitude, but his application since he's come to the Premier League, I know he's been injured for a few games, has been nothing short of impressive. Cherki's come in as a £30 million player? We can't fit our players in. Wirtz looks lost on that left. And listen, we brought him to be a 10. And I know what Ben said. Look, we've got to play him off the left because he can't drop this midfield. But it's been that hype again. This midfield looks good against Villa. It looks good against Madrid. But it's been shot to pieces and exposed against City. Asim, I don't know where we go from here. I actually don't know.
Well, how can you tell me? Look, I said I agreed with you about Gomez. In theory, it works. It adds a bit of more physicality in the back line. He can manipulate the ball. He comes into midfield. I don't want him. Someone asked me the question about Gomez being a DM. He's not a DM, people, but I don't mind him arriving into the space if he wants to come into midfield as a spare man. We've seen him do it with Klopp. We've seen him do it with Arne Slot as well. But the problem with Liverpool and Joe Gomez, Avi, is he'll play 2 games and get injured. And I can guarantee
you... I'd rather see that change though now. I'd rather see against Forest, he goes with Gomez because you can't keep thinking that these players are going to play themselves back into form.
I actually think
you can talk about structure, tactical. You can talk about the methods of the structure, the setup. I totally agree where you're coming from. There are holes within the system, Asim, 100%. But that doesn't legislate the form of these players as well.
I have got a feeling in January, Crystal Palace will want Joe Gomez. Liverpool can't afford Joe Gomez to get injured because they'll miss out on Guehi. Call it a conspiracy theory. I don't know.
Asim,
I've got a feeling.
I think we need to do a lot.
Liverpool don't want to break down that deal. I think Liverpool. It's not ideal to get rid of Joe Gomez in January, but I think Liverpool need Guehi more than Gomez because Gomez is going to get injured. So they'll probably be willing to go with Kanate, Guehi, and Van Dijk, and Leone obviously injured. But I've got a feeling. Why are they not playing him?
No, they played him on Wednesday and today, didn't he?
He just, when we're looking really bad defensively, he doesn't even get 10, 15 minutes. Starting, he's not starting enough games. Whether it's just, at face value that we can't afford all 3 to be in the same team. Whether he plays at right back or left back, it will add a lot of solidity. And then you can let one of the left back or right back go a bit and be more natural. But at the moment, you mentioned McAllister. Look, I don't want to say I told you so.
Asim, do we need to go back to basics? Not basics, but do we need a 6 now in that team? A 6 that can cover the ground, who can tackle but keep discipline as well in that position. Because look, Grav doesn't fancy that 6 position. Asim, McAllister's out of sorts. Szoboszlai is not a 6. Jones ain't a 6.
Our priority.
Endo, he's not going to play Endo. So we've actually only got 4 quality midfielders. We need to get a 6. And the player that I'm looking at in January, I'm looking at Palmer again. I'm looking at Mandela Keita. I'm looking at Lamine Camara. I'm looking at that kind of players who can play a bit with the ball. I'm not looking for like a Ugarte or a Casemiro. I'm looking for someone who can cover ground quickly, who can eat up space.
You know what, Avi? I don't mind paying 15, 20, 30 million pound more, because if you're going to bring someone in that position, it's a specialized position. But I'd rather have that player coming from the Premier League, Avi.
Who was it? Wharton won't be that player. Wharton won't be a recognised six.
Belaber's a shout. Anderson's a shout.
Belaber's been off form for Brighton. Anyone that's watched Brighton this season, he has been off form. They even own fans. Maz, who's a big content creator, he's not been impressed with Belaber, and he's a season ticket holder at Brighton.
Avi, our priority is a footballing right centre back and a profile, either a left back or right back, something similar to Calafiori. That's what we need.
Hincapi was there.
That's what we desperately need. We need to start with the foundations, Avi. I'm telling you, and what I failed to touch on, and how teams are pressing against us, and you talked about McAllister. What's happening, Avi, is teams are getting really aggressive with us, man-to-man, up our asses.
Yep.
And we've seen Gravenberch get really deep, and because we don't have the technical security in the defensive area, and our DM is not a natural DM in terms of a passing, progressive passer. So even if he splits the centre backs, like you saw in bits in the first half and the second half today, and he tries to relieve the pressure off the back line, he's not a passer. He still has to carry it. Even when we've seen Gravenberch come and be the centre back and come into midfield, he comes into a midfield through a carry. He doesn't come through in midfield by passing it and then coming in. He drops his shoulder even at centre back. He's really good at it, but you can't start at Blue midfield at centre back and do that for 90 minutes. It's too risky. And he's going to get caught on the ball one day, especially against really good teams. So what happens is Szoboszlai has to come deeper, because one, the ball's not coming in from the right side, and we've seen Szoboszlai being the deep progressor. He's Liverpool's most progressive passer as well this season, and it's not by fluke; it's by design. Because Liverpool need 2-3 Szoboszlais at the moment. We need him at the front to counter and provide the pressing intensity and win the ball high up. Then we need him to come into really deep positions and control us and set the tempo and play a pass into midfield and find the likes of Salah and Wirtz. And then in terms of the press, what I'm talking about is McAllister. If you're going to get uptight to McAllister, with all due respect, McAllister doesn't know what to do, because is he going to lose a marker by his pace? No, he's not. McAllister is a player where you provide him the environment in settled play, and he's got a pass. He can provide, tenacious tackles as well on this day. But it's the other way around. But him faced with where he's getting dragged out into into spaces where he cannot go because he doesn't have the legs and the intensity, then he's found wanting. So Liverpool have a big problem in the attack. We don't have the players to provide the intensity from the front. We don't have the pace on the wings. We don't have the technical security on the right side of the defense. We don't have pace in the team. We have so many little problems. Well, I would call some really big problems, but it's not just.
So was the summer transfer window then? Was it? We lauded it. We applauded the work that Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards did initially. But when you come to think of it now, and the profiles that we're missing, was it a 7.5? Was it an 8 out of 10 window? Was it an 8.5 out of 10 window? Because to me, Asim, what you're trying to say is that window, it was a bit of a disaster.
Avi, look, Isak will come good. Ekitike is a really good player with a massive ceiling, and you could argue Ekitike has surprised 90% of the fan base. He's probably done better. No, he's not probably done. He has done better than, especially me. I'll hold my hands up. He's done better than I expected. He's a better player than I expected right now, and he's got a massive ceiling, and he'll come good as well. Kirkes is young, but right now, the system that we play, he's the wrong profile.
I thought he did. I thought he was actually okay when he came on today.
Okay. But, in terms of what we generally allow, and that's another problem, Avi. Villa and these guys, there were some, opportunities where they just didn't play the final pass. Real Madrid were really poor. And I feel like their right side midfielder, Camavinga and Goulet, it was a mess, their right side. And that's one of the reasons why they didn't take advantage of Wirtz coming inside. Because the downside of Wirtz coming inside is what we just talked about. The likes of Kirkes and Robertson have to go really high. But good teams, when you vacate that space, they punish you, Avi. They really do. And going back to my exchange with Sam on Twitter, he's telling me we've always been targeted. Our right side has always been targeted. Correct. Our right side has always been targeted off the ball. This is where a lot of people are mistaken. What I mean about this is teams used to target our vacated space. We've always had, this trade-off with Salah. Even Slot let him used to cheat because we had Bobby, we had Mane on the other side, we had three conservative, really, hoovers in midfield, and we had, the likes of Verge and Trent and all these guys acting as, our fullbacks were acting as wingers. But more importantly, on the ball, when we had the ball in the right side of defense, whether it was the defender or the right back, nobody targeted us. Why? Because we had a pass into midfield. How many times, forget the switch, how many times did Trent play that ball to the right side midfielder, whether it was Henderson or it was Szoboszlai in recent years? Go watch that second half against Newcastle away last season. The manager still talks about it. He talked about it last week when we were playing Real Madrid, because that was the quality that Liverpool had, and it was just a totally different dynamic on the right-hand side. I'm not saying we need another unicorn. We can't replace Trent with another unicorn. But there's a golfing class. He masked problems. And I've been talking about it, that he was an average defender. Don't get me wrong. In 1v1 quality duels, he could get at. We just saw Doku, his final ball wasn't great. But in terms of him running at Trent, he was really good, even last year. And how many times have we seen Trent get cooked? But in a funny way, Trent's passing ability from deep areas or in semi-deep areas, if it went wrong, Avi, he was still in a position to make sure he was a body. It improved our rest defense. At the moment, Liverpool have to go and overcommit. And when we do lose the ball,
we're shocking. No, we're shocking on the defensive transition. Asim, Florian Wirtz, how do we unlock him? Because I get the left wing, and it may just be he may have to just keep playing on that side if away from home, especially if Slot is definitely hell-bent on going with the three that he favours in the midfield three area. But how long-term do we get the best out of him? Because for me, Asim, when we brought Florian Wirtz, for me it was, we've got to build the team around him. And I know the likes of Salah wouldn't have wanted to hear that. Isak at a stretch. Szoboszlai, but to get the best out of Florian Wirtz, you've got to make him that unique player for your team. He's got to be, everything has to go through him, but I don't think it will. And at the moment, Asim, and I don't want to say these words, it's looking like a disastrous signing. And we can talk about the chances created. And yes, he created 5 against Real Madrid and this and that and the other, but the numbers are not there. The numbers are not there. He was a peripheral figure on the pitch today. He didn't cause any cause for concern. He's £115 million. And he looks lightweight. I have to agree with Dylan Roblox. He does look lightweight at the moment for the Premier League, especially away from home. What is the answer, Asim? Because if we go with that direction and say, you're going to be our guy, then you've got to build the whole team around him. You've got to find your Chakas and your Andriches like you had at Leverkusen in this Liverpool team. Because let me tell you, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, McAllister and Jones, pick any two of them, they won't be those eaters in the middle of the park for Wirtz. They just won't be. So how do we get the best out of Wirtz?
Oh, Avi, it's $1 million question. I've said him all the last couple of weeks that I want him in the number 10 position. But we've just talked about Liverpool's deficiencies off the ball, the trade-off in Salah, and it's meant that Liverpool haven't engineered enough control in the games, so we've had to scrap that plan because we needed Szoboszlai from the front and running back and covering Salah and all that sort of stuff. Not just covering Salah, covering McAllister, covering everybody. everybody, even his right back. And that's why the reason why he's been one of our most, well, not the most important player. But the problem is I thought, okay, it's fine. Wirtz, Gakpo is not good enough to be week in, week out. So maybe we found a position for him, even though I don't like it, that there is some sort of plan. And more importantly, in theory, it'll bring the best out of our left back. Because whether it's Kirkes, whether it's Robbo, they'll be naturally higher and doing what they like, a lot more comfortable with. So it ticked a few boxes. But Avi, when you've got big teams and they know exactly what they're going to do, we went with that team against Real Madrid and it worked. It was obvious Liverpool. The whole world knew Liverpool are going to go unchanged. But what Guardiola did is he smothered that midfield. He put the likes of Shirky, Foden, and even Doku inside with O'Reilly really high. And he said to Liverpool, whether it's on or off the ball, we've got more numbers in midfield. So if you've got the ball, we're really compact as well. And we're going to nullify the threat of Florian Wirtz. And when you've got the aggressive press of what City had, he wasn't physical enough. Well, and that's not just today, Avi. That is my biggest concern. How many times did I see Florian Wirtz go for a 6 today? Sometimes even out the TV frame. Honestly, and we have to probably accept it that Avi, we can't give up on this project. It was too much money, especially the guys at 22. But for the people who are saying, why do we sign him? It should have been a plug and play option. It should be a lot better in terms of coping with the intensity of the league. Because when you checked his off the ball stats, they're off the scale. Yeah. But you can't deny the fact that it's just you listen to every single German player who comes to the Premier League and they ask him what's different about this league compared to the German league, and every single player says the same thing. So he's not a selfish player, Avi, in terms of he doesn't run. He's always ran in Germany, in England, but we don't want just running. This is our number 10, was supposed to be the missing piece in the jigsaw and provide the intensity, not of Szoboszlai, but still, put a shift in, but be a magician on the ball. We haven't got the environment at the moment for him.
A question to you: if he's a long-term project, right, and if he is going to be the main creator of this team, does he have to bring those plans forward? Does he have to make some bold decisions? We're talking about Arnie here. Does he have to make some decisions and drop big names to accommodate Wirtz in that 10?
To accommodate Wirtz in the 10, one, we need more of a natural DM. What you're saying, I don't think we can. What we might have to do is look. Gravenberch has been really, really good, but if you go for someone who's got a crazy amount of legs, and it doesn't have to be week in, week out option, but I do get what you're saying. But the main thing is Avi, is at the moment where Salah is in his career with the trade-off that I've been talking about, you cannot have Wirtz in the number 10 and Salah next to him. It just doesn't work.
So would you drop Salah?
But the problem is,
I'll tell you who on that right.
Who's going to play instead of Salah?
I would like Sobo on that right. You got a bad cough.
Oh, I've got a really bad cough.
I'd like Sobo on that right at the moment. I would try that. Sobo on that right, and then on the left, you got to go with Gakpo, Isak through the middle with Wirtz behind him, and then in midfield.
Bobby, we're Liverpool Football Club. We need wingers who can take a player on.
But Asim,
Sobo cannot take a player on if you're going to play.
Neither can Salah. Salah was nowhere to be seen against O'Reilly today, Yasin. When was the last time you seen Salah go?
He's still out.
No, he's still what? He's still nothing. No, he had a good 65, 70 minutes against Real Madrid. No, Asim. We haven't got we haven't got someone like a Nico Williams today who scores, or Diaz, what he did against Bayern Munich, against who they play, Union Berlin yesterday. We haven't got that, but he needs to try something different. He's not making big decisions at key times. Salah should have been hooked off today. Chiesa should have been brought on way sooner. I'm sorry, but he's letting big personalities affect his decisions. And if he doesn't change that, he'll be out of the door, Asim. He won't last the season. Because right now, big performers who have won us league titles, who've been game changers for the last 7-8 years are not performing. I'm for the now, not the past. I'm for the now, Asim.
So who would your team be then? If you put Soboslai on the right wing?
Today's not the day. Today's not the day.
No, tell me.
Today's not the day. Today's not the day. We've got international week, 2 weeks. This is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be talking frustration. We've got a manager who's probably off to Dubai on Wednesday, Thursday. And people will give him shit for that. Asim, we have got players, big players, that are desperately out of form. That were going to chip, who could chip in with a goal, who could chip in with a Gakpo today, that cross, Bradley's cross. Gakpo usually buries that. He skies it over. He skies it like over the. He just shoots it. It goes nowhere. Skies it. We got super chats that we've got to get into, guys.
Go through the supers. Go through the supers.
AJ, thanks for tuning in, and thank you for the super chat. Beautiful picture, by the way. Lost 40% of our games since PSG defeat. That's damning. That's damning. You can't mask over that. You can talk about the last 7-8 games. We were on free-flowing mode. We were already in Ibiza. We were already on the bandwagon. We were already, on the razzle and whatnot. But 40% since PSG is pathetic. No other manager would survive that, by the way. Faraz, thank you for tuning in. Always appreciated. The arrogant fraud coaches a high press with fewer players. The second line pivot stays back despite the +1 in defense. Dutch fraud builds up with fewer players in City. A mere tweaker. A mere tweaker. No real style. Asim?
Arrogant. Because the +1 that he's talking about has been there since day one. He thinks he can have this trade-off with Salah and commit an extra man in the press and just defend with an extra man in the back line with Kanate and Verge on the striker. But against really good teams, Chelsea, Maresca has found so many problems with it, whether it's through in left back or right back coming into midfield or a striker coming in, they create the extra man. We saw it against the Caicedo goal. Just go watch that goal. Just go watch that goal again. And really good teams, because teams that don't have that quality, individual quality, don't hurt us, and we don't create headlines, and we control the game because we just got better players. But there are far too many times now over the course of the last 12 months that Liverpool have struggled. PSG away, Arsenal away, we didn't really control that game as well. PSG, Newcastle away last season, this season. So many games are we. Chelsea home and away last season, this season, we're just not controlling games. And because what you're talking about, passive principles, passive structures, and he needs to change it. He needs to be radical. I'll be calling for radicalism. If Guardiola can play Mateus Nunes at right back, why can't we do something similar? Because at the moment it's not working. Is it working? It's not working. Bradley will give you really good performances. Kanate will give you really good performances. But let's make no mistake about this, people. Believe you me, that we'll have plenty of Manchester City performances as well. And that's why we'll probably get, third or fourth this season. Because we've just got too many underlying issues. And the manager has to look at him, a hard look at himself. Because he needs to have the bottle to change it. Because it's clearly not working. We're not going to accept where we just, have a few good performances and then a few bad performances. Is that how we want to defend our title? Especially after spending £400 million? No, it isn't. And this is why I'm saying we need to somehow crawl to January. But up until January, Avi, he needs to be brave. If you're not going to go...
He's shown that. He's shown he's not that. He's shown he's not...
If he doesn't want to make a personnel change, then make some structural tweaks from the start of the game. Go with the aggressive press. Go with Salah dropping 5-10 yards deeper against really good teams. Sacrifice a bit of possession. You have to do these things. But at the moment, good teams just take advantage of us because they know what they're coming up against. And that's the problem.
The full 90, thank you so much for tuning in. Grab is not a 6, can't pass a ball forward either. I think that's a little bit harsh. Faraz, thank you again. 2 more losses, and we've lost half a Premier League season since February. Damning again. LFC R786, thank you so much for tuning in. Always appreciate the support. We're 4 off City and 8 off Arsenal. It's November 20. November. It's November. 27 games left. Not the end of the world. We have a way easier run after the break, which allows us to go on a winning run. Isak will be ready. Come on, you Reds. What gives you the confidence, though? Because I've got no confidence. And if you're saying that we're 8 off Arsenal, you don't win the league with winning 5, winning 6, losing 5. You don't win the league if that's the notion that you're going from. So the next 11, 10 games, winning 6 and winning 5, winning 6, losing 5, you're not going to win the league with those numbers. Thank you for the super chat. Banter is fine. Thank you so much. We don't need a typical 6, in my opinion, but we need a more physicality in midfield. If Sobo's not occupying central area, need a passer central to utilize our running power in forward and right centre back with capacity to carry first phase response.
I'm glad people are talking about, the capacity, and we need a typical 6. Liverpool do need to go to, proper principles where they have proper double principles. But the problem lies, you can have principles, Avi, but if those two midfielders are not receiving the ball and they're not connecting with the right side of defense, it's a case where Liverpool can have a structure of last season. If the ball's not coming into midfield, Avi, then the manager has a huge problem. And this is the reason why go watch it. I think the screenshot I took is on the 51st minute and 36 seconds. You've got Bradley in a really high position. You've got Sobo
drops in
practically in the right back position, and Gravenberg practically in the central centre back in the back 3. Why are these players coming into those positions? Because they've realized after 50 minutes, and we talked about it earlier, whether it's a manager's instruction or the players are working out themselves, that we're not getting the ball and we need to somehow relieve the pressure and drag out City themselves as well. But generally, when you do that and you do split the centre backs, the opposition pivot or the central midfielder or DM is not going to track you into centre back positions. If they do, you just give it to the keeper and you take your time inside. You invite the pressure that way. But but why is that happening? Because we don't have the players. We really don't. And he has to do something radical. He has to do something radical, Avi. And if he doesn't, it's only going one way. If we want to accept top 4, if that's what you want this season, then let's just not shout. And then let's not go crazy every week in, week out. Because just, change your expectations. And people are already there. You're already there. But I don't want to see these performances, even if it's after 2-3 weeks. And that's what I'm saying. Crawl to January somehow and make some necessary adjustments and be brave in the market as well. And people will give me shit. Oh, we can't just keep on spending. Well, what's the solution then?
We haven't done so for the last fucking 7-8 years anyway. So yes, we can spend. We can't start spending because no one else is going to stop. They're doing the same. So yeah, no one should be giving you shit about the lack of spending or all spending. Emmett Tigbay, thank you so much. Avid listener and a very big contributor. I'm sorry, we need to be ruthless. Lot isn't it? We're not there yet. We're not there yet, Emmy. Thank you again for the super chat. Salah isn't it anymore. He needs to be benched. Wirtz created chances, but we had no striker. What was the sub? What's our identity? What is slot football? I think we've been covering that all show.
You know what? I deserve to have not a go at Emmy. We're here with all the opinions. But Emmy gave me a lot of shit because we saw games against Aston Villa. We saw games against Real Madrid, and he sent a super chat last show and said, "Asim, can you get rid of this nonsense? Bradley's our right back or something like that." I'm paraphrasing, but this is the reason why we shouldn't be judging games on one single performance. We have to provide context. We have to provide perspective. We have to look at how the opposition played against us. And effectively, although he did have a really good plan for Real Madrid, they made it easy for us, but especially Aston Villa. Aston Villa made it easy for us.
I'm lost for thought now. Thank you again, Emmy. The guys, we've won 40% since the loss of PSG. We just mentioned that earlier on. Ash, thank you so much. Avid listener, avid contributor too. Hughes needs heat too. The summer business was messy. Can't get Hoyson and waits until last hour. Or window for Gahey. I can't accept that was the only option. True fact. And Hoyston would have been absolutely brilliant in this team. Absolutely brilliant. Slot needs to go. We have the players, just not the right tactics. Look at the today's subs. Wirtz playing false nine. He's a creator. Why aren't we supplying our strikers? Salah is a bench player. I want to come on to Slot substitutions in recent games, Asim. Villa and Real Madrid aside, they've been shocking. They've been absolutely shocking. Even when we're chasing games, or even if it's been evenly poised. Yes, the first 4 or 5 games of the season, it worked. But post Crystal Palace and after post Crystal Palace, the decisions he's made are absolutely shocking. It's Ten Hag levels. The
Avi, you know
decisions he's
what it
making
is?
off the bench.
Well, you know what it is down to? Pressure. So it's down to. When you're winning and everything's all plain and rosy, Avi, even your like mad substitutions, somehow you pull them off because everything's going right. Salah scores the worldie, and you look like the best manager in the world all of a sudden. But when the pressure's on, then you find out.
Another super chat from Faraz. Thank you so much. Semenyo and Gehi in January to patch up in possession, out of possession. Asim, would you agree with that?
Gehi will definitely improve us in possession. Semenyo will provide a lot of strength, a lot of carrying ability.
He's a defense stretcher as well.
He puts a really good shift in, no doubt, and he can play on the right if you wanted, But is he going to the AFCON?
He's Ghanaian, yeah.
But did they make the AFCON? I can't even remember. I don't even know.
Nadia Noor, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate the super chat. Realistically, how long are we going to keep saying a radical change is needed? Nothing is changed, and Slot repeatedly admits and shows he doesn't know.
He's not going to the AFCON. They must have qualified.
That's a bit of a shocker. Ghana. Nadia, thank you for the super chat. Look, he needs to be a bit bold. Excuse the pun. Slot needs to make some key decisions, because the longer that he doesn't and he leaves it the way it is, people will be asking for his head. Look,
well, I want to ask the chat tonight, Avi. That what does Slot need to do? Am I chatting shit?
No, you're not. You make perfect sense. You've been the Konate Bradley rest defense build up play. You've been banging on about it in July, but that also tells me, Asim, that you're not comfortable having Konate at the back. That Konate isn't your ideal centre back, but you've been praising him as well.
No, look, Avi, what did I say to you? He's a world-class channel defender. That's the term I used. Yes or no?
How many Trent Alexander-Arnolds are there in that right back position?
But it worked.
That can mirror that, but yeah, it worked. But who can mirror that technique style or that playing style of Trent? There's very few and far. There's no one. Vanderson maybe.
But you know what,
Fernandes, if he can stay fit at Porto.
But if Konate is not signing a new contract and he's not the long-term issue, the problem is, Avi, is our fullbacks are not good enough on the ball as well. That's the killer. Bradley's not bad. I think Bradley's better than Frimpong, believe it or not.
I think Frimpong is good to be on the run. He's a good chaser. When the ball goes over the top, he's a good chasing fullback. With the ball in possession, not so great. But look, that's the way the systems were implemented for him via Leverkusen. He played in a 5 and he played as a wing back, and Grimaldo was on the other side. That's why they flourished on the counter attack too. Emmy again, Asim, we had holes in the midfield. We reverted back to type, and Pep played a mid block. No long balls, but smart to overload the midfield. What do you think Sean Dyche will do, or similar teams?
Sean Dyche against Liverpool next weekend is parking a bus, winning the duels, winning free kicks, and getting balls into the box. That's what he's doing.
Asim, his quotes were damning today. Read them out.
I read one. Avi, but I need to read it again.
Let me just finish off the super chats. Ash, thank you again. Transfer window looked great on paper, but what was the plan with fullbacks? What was the plan for a team with Sobomo and Wirtz? Why didn't we replace Diaz? Hughes at the forefront. Emmy again, thank you so much. Asim, I said Sobo should not see right back position.
Oh yes, actually, my bad. He did say that. Well, the problem is, look, I've moved away from Sobo from right back is because the former Wirtz, the former McAllister. And this is the reason why I was talking about Liverpool's, back line and the right side of defense. And this is earlier on in the season when our losses started, I wanted Sobo at right back. And you can tell me he's been at right back because of the injuries. But one of the reasons why he's also spent more time in right back is because the lack of ability in Frimpong and Bradley's, as well as the injuries. But the problem that Liverpool had and Arne Slot had is how many fires did Sobo have to put out? He had to put out. He played in the left side of midfield because McAllister was shot of confidence and form. Then Wirtz wasn't getting the physicality, and we won't win the ball up high up the field. We weren't protecting Salah and allowing him to, try to create. And because he still wants him to defend high, and he's not accepting the fact that he's going to drop in 5-10 yards. So how many Sobos did we need? And I thought, you know what, we need Sobo more in the front at the moment than right back, and that's why I moved away, and that's why I went Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones is not a long-term right back option; it's a short-term fix. I have to make that clear. But I can't just believe people who tell me it is just nothing down to the personnel. It's nothing down to it. These guys are good footballers and can manipulate a ball, and it's all down to structure. You watched the last 2-3 games. You watched today's game with me. And there were some structural deficiencies. And I'm going to write a thread on it tonight after bloody watch the game again and get the clips. But why did Liverpool change it after 40, 50 minutes? Because they realized this is not what's happening. They're absolutely strangling us. And teams are strangling us at the moment. If you sit off us, Avi, then we don't have that natural quality in midfield. But we've got the right back and left back and let them go. But we're getting caught in transition earlier in the season. But if you're brave and you've got footballers and you've got the aggressive press of a PSG, a City, and Arsenal, then you can do both. You can really strangle Liverpool and then sit off them as well. But the quotation that I'm really concerned about is he said it's easy for players to win their duels and the game plan and tactics are working like they did against Villa and Madrid. Today we struggle with City bringing so many players into the center of the pitch. Then they were so much better on the ball than us. But if you've got a really passive, absolute pathetic mid-block, and they bring the likes of Shirky and Foden and Doku off the line and really overload the center of the pitch, then why aren't you reacting to that? Why aren't you reacting to that? Because you've already got deficiencies with Salah out wide and O'Reilly being really high. And Bradley, was really struggled and confused. And Gravenberch was confused as well as who's he going to mark? Because there were so many players there. At that point, Slot had to change it and say, okay, if you're going to do that, then I'm going to go man to man. But at least we're giving ourselves the best chance to win that duel. Because we're not going to win it with 3v6 in midfield. And that is what's damning about that quote, is if you recognize the problem, why aren't you reacting to it in the best fashion and to deal with that problem? Where you've got a compact block, but we're just there. It's not doing anything. And that's why every single move, they just passed it around us. They look quicker. They look better. They've got technicians. And we just looked really, really lost. Yes, we look knackered. We put a lot of energy and legs into the last 2 games, Avi. But if you recognize the problem, then you have to make that big decision during game. He was making it the tweaks a lot earlier last season. But pressure does funny things, Avi. You try to control the game off the ball. And if you get run over in midfield, you're gonna face the predicament Liverpool were faced with today.
Super chat from Al's wingers. Oh, wingers can't beat man on the what? OS?
Wingers can't beat man on the outside, maybe?
Outside. Revert to diamond. I think we've spoken about the diamond formation a couple of weeks ago. And we'll go into it this week, what changes need to be made for the Forest game, because that'll be an ugly game as well. That'll be a totally ugly game. Jamrock, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for the super chat. First thing Slot needs to do is focus on the defense. Set up before he talks about chance created and small margins and unlucky. Study some tapes and shut the hell up. Yeah, lots to work on the next 2 weeks. Lots to work on in the next 2 weeks. Banter is fine. I want Slot to stay, but we need him optimal. We need to get him optimal profiles in the first line to carry out Slots once in the first phase. Once we improve in possession, so will
100%.
everything else.
100%. 100%. And I get what people's concerns are, with Curtis Jones at right back. It's not ideal. But the fact that he can come inside, he can connect with the number 6, and we've got the ball, Avi.
Yep.
We've got the ball. And again, with Manchester City, why did you see the ball to Doku so many times? That was their plan, to get the ball to Doku. You have to make sure you pass. You do the first job and the second job, where you strangle them, you squeeze them, and then you win the duel. And then it goes to Doku doesn't get involved in duels, although obviously out wide.
He's an absolute nightmare, Asim.
Oh, he's a look. What
those hips, radio. The way he quickly turns and takes two. The way he can wiggle himself out like a slalom style in front of two players in front of him.
He is annoying because he's relentless.
Yeah.
And over the years, he hasn't had the end product on the final ball, but it's slowly coming.
It together.
When you've got a coach like Guardiola, and that's what Liverpool are missing. Dean was touching on it earlier. Liverpool just don't have a player, Avi, who can just be relentless all the 90 minutes and go at people and take a player on.
He's still 23. He's still 23 years old as well. Gagandeep Pawar, thank you so much for the super chat. We're going to read it out now. Biggest red flag with Slot is him showing on multiple occasions that he will revert back to type after winning games off the back of tactical changes. I think we've seen that. I think he goes back to what he thinks is best and what he knows is best. But look, he's got 2 weeks to sort this out. He's got 2 weeks now to sort this out, and let's see what he does. Banter is fine. Thank you again so much. So many super chats today. Really appreciate it, guys. Slot's mid block has always been meh. It was evident last season. Plus, now I think our box defending is meh too. In possession is where Slot will rise to the top for me, just not without optimal profiles next season. So he's already writing it off, it seems. I think that's all we have for super chats. Ask him 2 questions. Quick answers. Are we out of the league title race?
Yes.
Do we get top 4?
Yes.
Do we end up with a trophy this season?
Yes. Don't ask me which one.
I'll settle for that. You know what? Right now, I'll settle for that. Top 4 and a trophy. Excuse my yawning there. I'll settle for that.
I think that's my heart talking, and that's not my mind.
For top 5. Question. You know what? We keep saying top 4, but top 5 actually. Yeah, if you get 5th, you get Champions League football this season. No, but let's not even fucking go there.
But like you've been talking about Budapest, Bucky Hotel, and all that chat.
Yeah.
Do you genuinely believe
Liverpool I think this team is built for European football than it is Premier League football. I think European football, you can get away with Wirtz off the left with the midfield 3 that we've got. Isak will come back into this team. Salah will, in those European nights at home, he will go again. He's got one more run in him. Asim, I think we are better equipped in Europe than we are in the Premier League. Different spectrums.
What if we come up against a City or an Arsenal?
Oh yeah, then we get stuck. You better hope that the run that we have to the final is kinder to us. But I back us against any team. And listen, Arsenal and City, regardless of how physical they'll be, they will not fancy coming to Anfield. First leg, second leg. We've played the Arsenal in the Champions League before. They've not fancied it. That 4-2 when Babel scored that 4th goal, getting away from Cesc Fabregas, and that was a great game. Chelsea have come to Anfield and they know what it's like. City have come to Anfield and been blown away in European ties. It's just that feel. I've just got a special feeling when it comes to the Champions League this season. But the next 10 games are very kind to us. Before we play Arsenal again, the next 10 games are very kind. We need to be winning 9 out.
Can you tell me that? Can you tell me the run of fixtures?
Yeah, I can put it right on my phone, but I know.
I want to see. I want to. I don't look too far ahead. Honestly, I don't. I'm not a guy who just really studies fixture lists. I look for the next 6, and that's about it. And I'm not looked beyond.
All right. November 22nd, Liverpool Forest.
Tika.
West Ham away.
Tika.
Liverpool Sunderland at home. Away to Leeds.
Are there any Champions League games?
But I'm not going to fucking say those out now. I'm talking about the league.
I want to know about the Champions League.
No, talk about the league. Why are you going to care about Champions League? Talk about the league. That's where we're struggling, arsehole.
So But if you've got Real Madrid, for example,
Oh,
before
fucking fuck off then. Here you go. Liverpool Forest, Liverpool PSV at home, West Ham Liverpool, Liverpool Sunderland, Leeds Liverpool, Inter Liverpool, Liverpool Brighton, Spurs Liverpool, Liverpool Wolves, Liverpool Leeds, Fulham Liverpool, Arsenal Liverpool. And then after Arsenal, we've got Burnley at home, Marseille away, Bournemouth Liverpool, Liverpool Carabag, Liverpool Newcastle,
oh,
Liverpool
forget it
City.
now, man. As for the next 6, not bloody next 15.
Oh, here you go. Yeah, we can actually, we've got a good run. Before we play Arsenal, we can catch them up.
Are we?
Don't fucking say we're in it.
Are we?
Dua karo, please, dua karo.
Honestly, man, I'm just making myself feel better. Not
Go on.
laugh or cry.
Go on.
You mentioned those 15 fixtures. I think we can make a comeback. Because there's a January window in between.
Asim, shall I tell you something?
How many players do you think Liverpool will get in January?
I think we'll definitely try for Gahey. I think we only end up with Gahey.
Ooh, okay.
If Semenyo's got a release clause and we are hell bent on getting him, and I would invite him. I think he's had. Look, you've won him. You won me over ever since you said that there's interest in the summer. I've been watching him more and more. Had a shit game today though against Villa, but he's a willing runner. He can give us traits that we haven't got in that forward line. 65 million is steep, but then I'm looking elsewhere, profile-wise, age of 25.
Would he be your first choice?
No.
Okay, 65 million pound in Avi's hand.
Nico Williams.
How's he doing this season?
He's come back from it. So
I don't know. Tell me.
So it's weird. A lot of these players, Lamine Yamal, Franco Macestuano, whatever his fucking name is from Real Madrid, Nico Williams, they've got this issue called pubalgia. It's by your groin issue. It's by the groin. They've all three got it. They're all young. Apparently, it's to do with when you're, on the smash. It's fucked. And those three players have got it. And there's another one in Italy. What's his name? That striker we were linked to. That what's his name?
Yeah,
the Argentinian.
Went to Saudi.
No, he's the
Retigui.
Apparently, it's an issue called pubalgia. It's the groin area. Apparently, it's when you're like.
Koi patani.
Yeah, there you go. Here you go. Emil Heskey, always tuning in. That's what
sounds like Pavlukia. What was the Italian keeper?
That's
Pagliuca.
No, Pagliuca, 94, Italy. Yeah, Pagliuca, genial.
I thought that's what he's trying to spell.
Yeah. Dean, I love you, mate, but behave. He ain't coming back. Not good enough. We're lacking the physicality now. Imagine if Elliot comes back. He's the last person that we need. I think we get I think we get one in. If the release clause exists for Bournemouth and it's 65 million, pay it.
So 65 million pounds, you're not spending it on Semenyo?
No, I'll spend it. He's a unique profile in terms of we haven't got that.
But you would rather spend it on Nico Williams?
Nico Williams always been my number one choice, Asim.
I think Liverpool are going to do 2 in January.
Who would those two be, in your opinion? Who would you want? Here you go. Who would you want?
I would take Semenyo and Gahey right now. I have never been happy Liverpool not spending another 65 million pound in the summer. Rio, I love the kid. I hope he does well. Where has Rio been? We don't want to block a pathway, they said.
No, but don't comment. He's not ready, Asim, to be thrusted.
I know he's not ready, so go bloody buy a winger then.
They can't right now, can they? It's not January.
We should have done it in the summer. It wasn't our biggest priority. It wasn't. Because Gahey should have been our biggest priority.
Maybe Semenyo was the one and we just didn't pull the trigger.
I don't know, man.
Cav Badicic is back with the team this week. So the ones that will be left behind, the ones that haven't gone on internationally, is with the first team this week. Let's see if he gets a chance.
Ash, he goes. We can still win the league.
Look, it's never over till it's over, but we can't go with this form. We need to carve out next 10 games. We need to win 9 out of those 10. Because Arsenal have got some tough games. City are what you call purring, but they'll slip up. We win the next 9 out of 10 is game on, but I don't see it. I'm sorry, guys. I don't see it. I don't see it. Charles, are we done?
I think any more super chats? I think one came through, have we? No?
No, I don't think it did.
No, the few came. After banter is fine.
We barely beat Burnley. Thank you so much, Emmy, again. We barely beat Burnley and you expect to run. We are playing teams that predominantly play the long ball. That's why I said this team is suited to European football. Banter is fine. I expect Sunderland in possession build up to give us issues, but we're at home. I'd fancy us. I'd really fancy us that game. Banter is fine. We should move for Antonio Nusa. Duhe light. We're never going to get Desire, do they? Never.
No chance. No chance.
If top 4 is our goal, then why do we keep him? Is that Slot?
Yeah,
that's the bare minimum is top 4. Bare minimum.
He's saying if are we accepting top 4 is good enough?
It's never good enough. It's never good enough. But where we are right now, no, we need another summer to reset this summer. Yes, it is. I'm sorry, but it is.
If he gets top 4, Liverpool are not getting rid of Arne Slot. You can forget about it. It's not going to happen. Even though regardless of how bad you want it. Regardless of how bad you want it. I'm not there, Avi. People will say, look, you're just scared to say Slot out and this and that. I'm not there. I'm giving him shit. I'm concerned. I'm worried. I'm hurt. I'm upset. And I want him to change it. Am I concerned as he hasn't
PSG,
found a solution?
Post PSG,
I know, yeah.
That is a worry. 40%
is a massive worry. It's a massive worry.
And you can say end of the season, it was we were off the rail, this and that. But the season, we only look, if we're going off by numbers, 40% win percentage is not even top. That doesn't even top 4. That doesn't even top 6.
We were on the beach for the last month, and it's played down. It's contributed to that percentage.
We need a massive turnaround in style, in shape, in structure, all the things that you talk about. We need a massive shift in the next 2 weeks for us to be even in the conversation with the Arsenal and Man City.
Semenyo hasn't scored or assisted in 3 now, getting that price down for us. I want to ask the chat, Avi.
They were shocking today, the bastards. They were shocking.
£65 million in every single person's hand. Gehi is still a target. I still think he's a Liverpool player come January or next summer. Who are you spending that £65 million on?
Luis Diaz.
You take him back in an instance, won't you?
I would look at Rodrigo again, Asim.
Are you scared about Rodrigo's I know he puts a shift in, but is that natural physicality there?
He needs a move. I mean, he's my target for the summer. I think Kenan Yildiz is a target for the summer of Juventus. A lot of Anderson and Belabor shouts, Asim.
Yeah, I told you, Elliot Anderson is really liked by Liverpool. He's monitored by a few clubs. Kenan Yildiz. A lot of people are saying Yildiz, but whenever I promise you, I'm going to watch Yildiz properly in the international break. But whenever I've watched him, I do see a lot of 10 in him. I do see a lot of Wirtz coming inside from the left-hand side.
That's a good shout.
So I want a winger who goes past players. Look at Doku today, Avi. He was there out.
He's a unique profile. He's a unique. There's no one like him
But
in world football.
Semenyo,
Hazard was similar in style. There's no one like that.
but you're telling me Semenyo can't take on players on a consistent basis?
No, he can't. But Semenyo's a lot direct. He's direct. No, I'm in favor for Semenyo. If Semenyo is the one, I'm in favor. Banter is fine. Thank you so much for the super chat. They shouldn't sack him, in my opinion. At least I hope the club isn't that reactionary. Fans, I can hear, they're typically impatient. Emmy, thank you again. We need to supply our strikers. What are we doing?
Yeah. We need to supply everybody. That's the problem. That is the problem. You know, if it was strikers missing chances, I would never ever be concerned.
Asim, would you do Shuhamani for McAllister if that was an option? If that was an option, hypothetically.
Shuameni for McAllister. Then what you'd have to do is play Shuameni at DM, Gravenberg on the left.
Don't fucking overthink it all the time. I'm just saying to you, would you do that right now?
I'm trying.
You're already talking about where I'm gonna fucking put him strategically in my team.
Well, that matters.
It's a swap for a swap. Yes or no?
But if you told me like, Martinelli from Arsenal, he's gonna play left back for you, I would say no.
I'm saying Schumann.
I need to work out where he's gonna play.
Would you want a Schumann in your team and then let McAllister go to Madrid?
Right. No, I want a better player than Schumann. I want more legs than Schumann. I want more mobility than.
He's got mobility, yeah. He's being stifled at that Madrid team. He's doing a lot of fucking shift work, man, for the idiots that he's got around him as well.
Yeah, but I want
25 years old.
I want more intensity from him.
Thank you. Are we done?
Done.
Guys,
a lot of yeses.
PMP, man.
There was a message from Dean about Huijsen, off topic, but Madrid fans seem to be turning on Huijsen. Might be one to look out at next summer.
Can't see it.
Are they turning on him?
Can't see it. He got a red card, didn't he? A couple of weeks ago. Can't see it. Not at 19. He's at his dream club. We've seen them turn on Modric that first season from Spurs. And then look, went on to become one of the most prized assets in recent times. Asim, Jamrock, man, Basker on super chat. Our form has been poor. I ain't buying this on the beach thing the last month. Our form is 15th place since February 22nd till now. What are we doing? That's worrying. That's worrying. If we were 15th and the season started from 25th of February now, that's bad.
No, what I meant is, look, this problem started at the back end of the season. I get that. I agree with that. But that percentage of 40%, the beach stuff, it does contribute to it. It'll probably be around about 50-55%, which is a bit better, but it's still not good enough, is it?
Rhythm and momentum have killed Camavinga's career so far at Madrid. Momentum and rhythm. Just can't keep fit, like Dean has mentioned. Stop-start career. Asim, tomorrow I think we'll do a show looking ahead. I think we can do looking ahead. Obviously, I think Ben hopefully can join us.
When's Gina back? Tuesday.
Gina's
Is he back on Tuesday?
Tuesday.
We need a show with all of us.
Next Sunday, the squad is back.
Are you free on Tuesday?
No, next week I'm busy. Next week.
Okay.
He's all right. Wasn't he at Roma? Wasn't he? Mönchengladbach, Roma. Where is he now, Manu Kone? I know he gets picked for the French team though.
He's at Roma, isn't he?
Roma, yeah. Asim, it is what it is. This has been born and bred. Any shukul mukul to end with? Any shukul mukul?
I'm too upset and I need a whole soother. That's what I need.
You need what?
A whole soother.
Suda?
A lozenge.
Lost me.
I can't hear you.
Lost me. You lost me.
A bloody throat sweet, man.
Oh, your throat's been fucked for ages, man. Sort it out.
I know, man. I'm trying everything. I'm big up to the chat. They sent me a few remedies, but it's not happening, man. It's not happening.
Big up Door on Tour. Thank you for tuning in, mate. For Forest fan here, watch out. It could happen like last time. Is Hudson-Odoi fit? Has he been fit?
Oh, yeah, it's not going to be easy. Sean Dyche, it's not going to be easy, Avi.
Such an outlet.
Dean saying,
He's
get home.
coming.
We're gonna do a call-in show.
Dean, he's coming. He's coming.
We're gonna do a call-in show in midweek. We always like to do one. Cloud saying,
Talking too much shit. That's nice, isn't it?
Is he talking about us or is he talking about us? Could be both.
Probably talking about us. He said, no, just never had the pace, unfortunately. A great number 10, though. I was a great number 10. Just never had the pace.
Were you a Wirtz number 10?
No, Michael Laudrup was my level. Brilliant. I was a good player, though. Very good player. We got to sort out that game as well. Asim, here you go. Ginger lemon piaz da soup. Asim, it's nasty, but it hits differently.
I've not tried. Let me take a picture of this. Wait on.
He's gonna get the buddy to work it. Oh, look at it. Asim, the cause of your throw was talking too much shy. Oh, love my guy.
Oh, it's all love, man.
Dyche ball throw-ins to Milinkovic and Chris Wood. Oh, yeah. What have you made of Van Dijk, Asim, in recent weeks?
You know, I didn't like how I know it's a deflection, Avi, but lazy type of like stance and just again passive, Avi, passive. But I don't know, man. I really don't know.
Emil saying, Avi, don't lie, you were definitely softer than Wirtz as a 10. No, I was a good number 10, man. I was a good player. Pulled up some good stats.
I'm gonna see when you're in the UK, we're gonna organize a game. I want to see how good you are.
I'm not good at a 5-side. There has to be 7-a-side.
Oh, here we go.
No, because I can't. I'm not doing no man-to-man.
What sort of number 10 were you?
7-a-side. I'm very lazy.
Like it to feet.
A very lazy 10. I was like a Letizia, honestly. Asim, you know, if you get on the call with one of my mates, Jitty, big up Jitty, by the way, he will tell you some of the crackers I scored on some of those goals pictures. Oh my god.
Let me be the judge of that.
Take it. Tired of attempting to build from Konate. Teams forces on us. There has to be another way. Yeah. Oh, here we go, Asim. This one looks like the one from Donero Mac. You need honey, key lime, turmeric, black pepper, ginger, garlic boiled in hot water, and then drink it as a tea. You'll be fine. Trust me. Oh. All right, guys, this has been Born and Red, an hour and 30 in. Hopefully, I don't know where to start. Hopefully, we brought some kind of calmness towards the end of the show. Don't dwell on it too much. Nothing is lost in 11 games of the season. Nothing is won during this stage either. Titles can be lost. But look, we are fucking Arsenal gained a point. 8 points behind the leaders. We need to be within 6 by January 1st. If we are, it's fucking game on. Guys, this has been Born and Red, the two of us, Asim and Avi. We shall see you tomorrow night. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Like.